Okay, so now we've made it to the outro section of Paradise City. Now this section is in double time, and it has kind of a main riff in it, but you'll see if you know, obviously if you know the song, it is total chaos with a lot of guitar stuff going around. It's all based around the basic G, C, F, C, G from the chorus riff. So it's basically based around the chorus chord progression for the entire time. But we start out with this main lick. Now I'm going to show you this little sequence here, and then we're going to go from there. I'm going to mostly, instead of breaking down everything that Slash is doing, because Slash is he's really just kind of winging it. He's doing a completely improvised solo that raises up in the mix, goes lower in the mix, is sometimes rhythmic, sometimes solo. He uses a few different scales in this, and instead of learning that note for note, which would take forever and would be almost impossible to do, because I think it's better just to kind of stick with the vibe of the solo, of being an improvised solo, and instead showing you, telling you about the scales that he's actually playing to create that long improvisation. But we do start with a composed part, which is going to sound like this. And we repeat that around. So that works over that chorus progression. So let's take a look at it. We have a lot of these chromatic lines that we found in the main riffs. We're here on the 4th string. We're going to play 5, 3, 4, 5, the chromatic idea. All right, and then we're going to do 3, 4, 5 again. All right, so it's really similar to the main riff of the song. So after we get to that 5, the second time, after that chromatic lick, we do those. Just very similar to the in fact, the same exact thing. So it's just an octave up from the lick that you already know. All right, and that worked over the G chord. Then over the C chord, kind of similar, we stay here. Same lick that we're doing here. But now we do it on the 3rd string. And right here, right after this 3rd fret note here, we do a quick slide up play the 5th fret and do a quick little, and then come back and play the 3rd fret. So I'll do it slowly. All right. Then we come back here and we're going to do it over the F. So we're going to start with the F here, and the F is going to be is shorter. So we're just basically going to do that, which is going to be the chromatic line once there. So we start with the F, 3rd fret, 4th string, then 1, 2, 3. Then hit an open string and come up and play the 3rd fret with your 1st finger. So we have this. That basically, an open string gave us an ability to shift up to the 3rd fret to finish the phrase. All right, and then we're back to the G chord. So that lick starts out the same. So we get 5, then 3, 4, 5, then 3, 5, 3. All on the 3rd string. And then we go over to the 4th string and do 5, 3, 5. So far. On that note, you can put a little slight bend on that. Just give it a little bit of flavor. So we have, and then we're going to finish it out by going 3 on the G string, back to 5 on the D, roll over to the 5 on the G string, and from there, so we have from the 3 down to the 5, then we're going to go 5, 3 on the 3rd string, then 5, 3, 5 on the 4th, back over to the 3 on the G string, and back down to the 5 on the 4th. So we have, so let me play that whole line together over all those chords. All right, and then you would just repeat that. So that part repeats over and over again. So just keep going. Now, you can do that, and then another guitar player can be playing the chords in like kind of a power chord version. Or be playing kind of the main riff, and then do it off, basically do what you're doing an octave lower. All right, there's really no rules there. There's a lot of guitars going on, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So I would just kind of experiment a lot of that line going. And then as we get into it, you'll start hearing his solo fading in. Now, what is he doing during this solo? Like we said before, there's a billion things going on in this solo at once. How the notes are coming in and out, and how the parts are lined up. It's really layered. So what you want to take out of it is just the vibe of it and the knowledge of kind of how he created it. Now, how did he do this? He's basically using primarily 3 different scale types. All right, he's using G minor pentatonic a lot, and he's using G major pentatonic, and he's using G mixolydian. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with what mixolydian is a mode of the major scale. Okay, so G, you can see that G is the root of the chord progression that we got going. Always resolving to that G. So what he's going to be using here is for G mixolydian, that is a mode of the key of C major. All right, so there is a lot of stuff at GuitarLessons365.com that you can get your chops down with all this theory with modes, pentatonic scales, all the modal scales, all the theory behind it. So I'm not going to really get into that, except to tell you that all you have to really do is think C major for the entire, whenever you think of C mixolydian. So a way to approach this solo would be, okay, so we have some G minor pentatonic here. And then just feel free to just take that into G major. Now, I will tell you, whenever he's doing G mixolydian, it'd be really handy to do your 3 notes per string scales, because he's usually the really burning parts when you hear him doing stuff like He's just, I think I went out of camera range there. But what's going on, and you'll hear him do a lot of stuff, some stuff like that. Let me give it a little juice here. So we have, let me see if I can back out just a little bit so you can get a good view of this. So it's basically, so when you hear him doing stuff like very blistering, I mean, he does a lot of pentatonic work. Those will be the basic blues licks that you'll see him all do. All right, so he's just messing around with that, and we have some major pentatonic in there too. Your pentatonic scale forms, but the really burning parts that you'll hear him do, you'll hear him do the pentatonic licks, and they'll be like little repetitive licks and stuff in there. But when you really hear him taking off and just completely ripping it up, it's actually a lot of 3-note per string stuff. And the picking patterns are very random, but you know, you could just take all of that like we were doing before. You know, stuff like that. That kind of sounds like when you can really see him rip into this. And that, I'm just taking the C major scale up here. And that little shape built off the third that we did in our scale forms. And it's very easy little way of getting everything together and of thinking of it. So everything's rooted in G. We have G minor, we have G major, and we have G mixolydian. And that G mixolydian sound is created with the C major scale superimposed over a chord progression in G major. It's a way of kind of thinking about it. I mean, it creates that Lydian sound. All right, so that's what I think you should be doing with that solo. Take all your G minor pentatonic and your G major pentatonic scales. A good way of approaching that is, since he uses a lot of hybrid stuff in there, hybrid meaning he goes in and out of both scales, well, learn them on top of each other. So we have G minor pentatonic, okay, and then we have G major pentatonic. All right, so, and then create some cool licks that use both of those scales on top of each other, you know? So I'm just, that's minor and the major. All right, and then of course, whenever you want to do some really burning 3-note per string stuff, kick into the mixolydian or just see it as C major straight across the neck. And you could just have fun for it all day long. And I think you could really recreate the vibe of that solo if you just think about those 3 things. Okay, so have fun with Paradise City. I hope you guys get a lot out of all of the regular solos, but also this little improvised section. And I hope to see you guys soon around the site. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.